Japan, 17th century. A man defeats more than 60 samurai in numerous duels throughout Japan. He never loses a single fight. He dies of old age, invincible. His name? Miyamoto Musashi. But here's what no one tells you. Musashi wasn't naturally disciplined. He created a system, a code, a path that transforms weaknesses into absolute strengths. Have you ever woken up thinking, today I'm going to change everything, and 3 days later, you're back to the same old habits? Musashi had an answer for that. And no, it wasn't about sword techniques. It was about something much deeper. Something he called the way of the superior man. And today, you'll discover exactly how to apply it to your life. Because if it worked for the greatest warrior in Japanese history, it can work for you too. But before we get to the video, I ask you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave your answer to the following question in the comments. If you were ultra-disciplined, what dreams would you fulfill and what goals would you achieve? I will read all your comments. Now, back to the video. Chapter 1. Waking up before the sun. Let's start with a truth that will hurt. You're being defeated every day, and you don't even realize it. Every day you hit the snooze button is a defeat. Every day you put off an important task until tomorrow is a defeat. Every day you choose the easy over the necessary is also a defeat. Musashi knew this. That's why he wrote, "The way of the warrior is death. When one can no longer die, one can no longer live." Calm down. He wasn't talking about literal death. He was talking about the death of the weak version of you, every day. Do you know what Musashi's first mission was every day? He woke up before sunrise. Not because he had to, because he chose to wake up. It's a huge difference. There's a saying in Brazil that goes, "The strong wake up before the sun rises." This saying is used in Brazil, mainly by older people who lived in regions where life was much harder, where the climate was bad, food was scarce, and some people had to work hard to survive. Waking up early is one of the signs that you are committed to your evolution. A Harvard researcher who studied habits for over 20 years discovered something astonishing. People who win the first battle of the day, waking up on time, are 73% more likely to win all the other battles of the day. But Musashi went further. He created what we now call the 5 rings of discipline. 5 principles he applied religiously. First ring, earth, the solid base. Build your foundation as if you were going to fight for your life today. Musashi woke up at the same time. He trained at the same time. He ate at the same time. Why? Because discipline isn't about motivation, it's about system. Have you ever noticed that when you don't have a solid routine, any excuse will do to not do what you need to do? This is where many people make mistakes. Many people don't set times to complete their tasks, so they sometimes end up forgetting important things, or they can't organize themselves, or worse, they use the famous excuse, "I didn't have time today." You know the truth? It's not that you don't have time, you're just disorganized. Set times to do each thing in your day and write them down in your planner. Follow everything you write down to the letter. Remember, your schedule is your most important boss. Second ring, water, adaptability. Here's where it gets interesting. Musashi was disciplined, but not rigid. He said, "Be like water. Maintain the shape of your container, but never lose your ability to flow." What does this mean in practice? You have your routine, but when life hits, and it will, you adapt without breaking. You don't use change as an excuse to give up. There will be days when you will face unexpected events. Your car tire may get flat, a family member may get sick, you may get injured, but learn to adapt when this happens. Be flexible like water. Third ring, fire, controlled intensity. Musashi discovered something that neuroscience only confirmed 400 years later. Our brains have limited energy for decision-making. That's why he eliminated unnecessary choices. Clothes, always the same. Food, always the same. Schedule, always the same. He saved his mental energy for the battles that really mattered. So stop using your mental energy to scroll through your TikTok or Instagram feed. Use your mental energy for what really matters: building your future and changing your family's life. According to a Stanford University neuroscientist, our brains spend 25% of their energy just making small decisions. When you automate the basics, you free up mental power for what really matters. Chapter 2. The Internal War. Fourth ring. Wind. Know the enemy. Now comes what will change your perspective forever, Musashi said. Knowing the enemy and knowing yourself is the key to victory. But what's your real enemy? It's not a lack of time. It's not a lack of money. It's not circumstances. Your true enemy has a name: the lazy version of you. That voice that says, just 5 more minutes. I'll start tomorrow. I can't do it today. Musashi created a brilliant exercise for this. Every day, he identified a specific moment when this voice would appear, and he prepared an automatic response. Lazy voice says, "It's cold, stay in bed a little longer." Automatic response, "That's exactly why I'm getting up now." He turned every excuse into fuel, every obstacle into training. Fifth ring. Void. The clear mind. Here is Musashi's final secret. He practiced what he called empty mind. It wasn't meditation as you know it. It was something more practical. He set aside 10 minutes a day to do absolutely nothing. No cell phone, no book, no music. Just him and his thoughts. Why? Because the lazy mind hates silence. In silence, it can't hide. That's where you discover your true excuses, your true fears. But there's something Musashi discovered that might shock you. He realized there's a specific time of day when our willpower reaches its peak. A time when it's almost impossible to fail. And it's not in the morning like everyone thinks. Chapter 3. The Secret Schedule of Maximum Strength. Musashi studied his own patterns for years. And he discovered something fascinating. There's a 90-minute window every day where our mental stamina is almost zero. For him, that time was between 2 and 3:30 p.m., the famous post-lunch period. You know that drowsiness? That desire to do nothing? Musashi realized that if he could overcome that moment, the rest of the day would be easy. He created what he called the dead hour ritual. When 2 p.m. struck, no matter what he was doing, he would stop everything and tackle the hardest task of the day, the one he least wanted to do. Why? Because if you can do what you don't want to do at your worst, imagine what you can do at your best. But it's important to highlight something here. Just because this worked for Musashi doesn't mean it will work for all men on earth. So test it out and adapt these teachings to your routine. Musashi taught about the dead hour ritual. However, Musashi went further. He developed what we now call the rule of 3 no's. First, don't. Don't negotiate with the lazy voice. When it appears, and it will, you don't argue, you don't ponder, you don't analyze the situation. You act. Period. Musashi said, hesitation is death. Second, don't. Don't wait to feel motivated. Motivation is like the weather. It changes constantly. Discipline is like the Sunday, always present, even when you can't see it. Musashi trained in rain, shine, sick, and healthy, always. Third, don't. Don't break the sequence. Here's the most important thing. If you fail one day, don't use it as an excuse to fail the next. Musashi made mistakes throughout his life, but he sought not to fail 2 days in a row. He created a simple rule. If I didn't succeed today, tomorrow I'll do double. Not to punish myself, but to show who's boss. According to researchers at the Boston Institute for Behavioral Neuroscience, our brain interprets consistency as identity. When you do something every day for 21 days, you literally change your brain chemistry. You're no longer doing the action. You became the action. Chapter 4. The Final Transformation. Now comes the part that will define whether you will apply this or just watch and forget. Musashi had a final test to determine whether one was truly on the path of the superior man. He called it the 7-day test. It's not complicated, but it's brutally simple. For 7 consecutive days, you will do one thing you don't want to do. Every day, at the same time. No exceptions. It could be waking up an hour earlier. It could be doing 20 push-ups. It could be reading 10 pages of a book. It could be meditating for 10 minutes. What matters is not the action. It's the daily victory over the weak version of yourself. Musashi said, "If you can conquer yourself for 7 days, you can conquer any enemy for a lifetime." But there's one detail that can change everything. Musashi discovered that there's a specific word that, when repeated in the moment of temptation, increases your chance of resisting by 340%. A word, he whispered to himself every time laziness struck. The word was simple: I choose. Not I have to, not I need to, not I should. I choose. I choose to get up now. I choose to do the hard part now. I choose to be greater than yesterday's version. Because ultimately, everything in life is a choice. And the superior man is simply the one who consciously chooses, every day, to be better than he was yesterday. Musashi died invincible. Not because he was the strongest, because he made the most consistent choices. The question remains, what choice will you make when you leave here? Because the most important battle of your life isn't against the world. It's against the lazy version of you. And that battle starts now. The path of the superior man has no end, but it has a beginning. And the beginning is today. The beginning is now. The beginning is the next choice you will make. So tell me, will you choose, or will you let life choose for you? If you enjoyed this content, I invite you to watch the one currently appearing on your screen. I'm sure you'll learn valuable lessons. Thank you very much for your attention. See you in the next video.